So if you guys are looking at the trading ideas, you're noticing that there's a theme, right, that's happening every single day. And that is, we look to see where did price close, right? So where did price close? Did price close above? Is it bullish or is it bearish? And did it close above or below weekly or daily levels, right? So yesterday, we knew price closed below these daily levels, but at the same time, price rejected these levels down below because we wicked down and came back up. So that's what made yesterday very, very confusing, or entering today very confusing with what it's going to happen because of the way the candle structure was, or the way the candle closed within structure. Okay,
you are marking that daily closing. That line is marked as a daily closing.
Everything that you see here is going to be a daily and a weekly level. And what would have been great is, for those, if this is super new, it would have been great if everyone had the opportunity to have joined Fred's class. I'm wondering if he's recording it, because maybe people could catch up with that recording. I'll ask him, but that would be great for those who are interested in this higher time frame type of setup. He has a great way of breaking it down. He literally just started his course this past Sunday. It would have been really good, but so I'm not going to go super heavy on this. I want to speak to Fred first and see if maybe he's got a recording and we can get more people involved. They just have to catch up. I don't know, maybe it's an option, but we'll see. But what I'm doing is I'm marking up the daily and the weekly levels, right? So there are two different strategies that we've got going on. We've got the lightning bolt strategy, and we've got these higher time frame strategies that you may or may not need. You don't need to use the LB with this, but I'm going to show you how I've been merging them, but it's not necessary. So I just want to keep them segmented for now, and we're talking about higher time frame setups because that's what we're all interested in right now. We're all very interested in higher probability setups. So yesterday, we're talking about the way candle closed yesterday. It was a very bearish candle. And though it was bearish and it closed below this structure, you would normally think that, hey, because it's a bearish candle and it closed below previous bodies, that we would continue to go down. But when we're looking at structure and we're adding structure involved, we can see that price has shot down and rejected these areas, this area down here, right? And also this daily zone, it rejected it. So because of that then, what the hell happened here? Yeah, because of that then makes things confusing. So what I always say is we don't want to trade in Asia market, right? Because Asia market is always going to be the wick of the market. Asia market is always going to be liquidity. It's going to be manipulation, right? Because always, if you look at the open of a candle and you see this here, this is always going to be, the wick of the candle before London, or even as it's made in London, is always coming out of Asia market, which is pushing in a direction and trapping buyers into thinking price is going up, and then it wicks down, right? Or vice versa. So you always wait for the setup. And that's why I always say, let's wait to see how Asia manipulates or creates, which direction Asia is going, and then which direction is London changing, which direction is London actually going to move? Because usually it's going to move opposite of Asia, right? Because Asia is when smart money is going to accumulate positions, get people into position thinking that they're in it. I was in the buy earlier in Asia, and then it turned around. And I'm sorry, I was in the sell, and then it turned around. Same thing. That's going to happen every single day. So don't enter in Asia. Just look and see how Asia prints, and then see how London starts to correct the market, right? So if I drill down here, let's look at the current day. You can see this is an hourly. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 hours. This is hour 22. This is 2 hours before London market opens. This is all Asia. All of this is Asia. All the way down to here is where market opened. It pushed down. It created initially a wick, and then London pushed everything back up. So this is why I say don't get into Asia, because if you're getting in, you're going to be wicked out. You're going to be locked in because then London market's going to come around and it's going to push up. So if you see what's happening is I got in to this buy down here. I got in literally once price came down to this area, I literally locked in. I actually sold. I actually bought it, sold here. I'm sorry, sold. And I'll zoom down to the 5 minutes to show you the setup. So these white boxes are my entries for the sells, right? So here originally, I got in here early. Why? Because I saw that we were at the previous days close to the close. It shot down, it rejected this area. I got in on these sells all the way down. And then when price hit this level of this bottom zone, which is a daily level, I then looked for entry. And when I found entry was right here, the engulfing candle. For those that's in Fred's course, you're going to hear about engulfing candles today. I'm sorry, this Sunday, this weekend, you're going to hear about the engulfing candles. I did not find valid setup until I saw this engulfing candle. That's when I actually made my entry and wrote it straight up. I also wrote it down. I also wrote it down for you guys that saw my position earlier today. I was in here because as price came and returned at a daily level that I marked up, and keep in mind, I'm only interested in daily levels. When price was down here, I don't care that price is in this area. I'm not looking for entries. I'm not looking for anything unless price is in the areas that I'm interested. And that's going to be the daily and weekly levels, those high time frame levels. I made entry here. I also made entry here because this was an engulfing candle. Not only was it engulfing, it was also a evening evening star. Right, so this created an evening star. I got in here and you guys saw my position this morning where literally it just melted. The minute market opened, it melted, right? Because I was in it, I knew and I saw that I was rejecting a level of daily support or resistance. It was at a daily level. And then I was looking for signs for which way is it going. And some people, I know some people got trapped, right? Because the way you guys are, the way people are drawing their support and resistance, I'm sure people got in on this market candle. I'll call this a manipulation candle to entice buyers to get in. So most people, if you drew your support and resistance out, your support and resistance levels look like this. This would have been a level of support and resistance because this is a swing high down to a swing low. And you would have blocked this area out. That would have been a level of support and resistance, right? And you would have said, hey, if price breaks above, you're going to get in. It made a high, it made a low. This is your next level of support and next level of support and resistance right here, right? Here is where, because we were close to the daily or market open, I'll say, if you weren't looking at the daily level and you were looking at these other levels on lower time frames, you got caught because price pushed above. Price pushed above this zone and everyone was anticipating going in for the buy. It was a break, a retest, a rejection, and it pushed back up and people were thinking buy, buy, buy. I'm certain of it. I could ask around the room for those that traded it. I'm curious to know if you're willing to share that. I would love to know if you got caught on the buy side of things, where me, I was actually selling above traditional or retail traders' resistance, right? So if this was resistance to me and I sold at resistance where most people were buying after they thought it was support. Because the thing is that the way they set it up is that it looks so good here, but you're not realizing that you're hanging below a daily level. You didn't break above it. You're thinking this is a break above and you're moving up, but you're actually below a daily level. So that's the trap. That's what you need to watch out for. You need to watch out. You need to really just look at the daily levels. Forget all this other crap, these other areas. Just look at the daily levels if you're trying to hold a trade for a day. So market opened. I was already in position. I wasn't so concerned about it. I had my stop for like 20 pips or so. Yeah, this is a 20 pip stop. And I just let it run. And my drawdown was, not much at all. It wasn't much at all. I probably got in a little bit closer down here. So I probably did have 20 pips from this point, maybe 14 pips, 15 pips, and price just melted on me. That was it. That was my entry, just looking at the daily levels. Did I care about anything else Did I care when price was here? No, because why? It wasn't at a daily level. It wasn't at a daily or weekly level that we marked up on the chart. So because it's not there, I don't even care to look at it, right? You know, the only time I would care is maybe up here, if I could find if I could build a case for re-entering or stacking up my position, a smaller position. And that would probably be right around here. This is an engulfing candle. You're going to hear about this Sunday if you're in the course. Engulfing candle, you would have gotten in, but you would have had a lot of drawdown. And then maybe once you saw this push back here and a retest and reject, maybe here's where you would have gotten in. But it was showing signs of melting because of this engulfing. Wicks were at the top. You're around a daily level. And once you started to see price break below and show true movement, you could have entered again. I did not enter there. Right? Also, what did it do? Price came. It's so interesting that price comes and it starts to move sideways around a daily level, right? Price came down to the next daily level. This orange line, this yellow line, or this gold line is another daily level that I drew out on the chart. It's what I'm sharing with you guys in my live chart markups. You guys have access to it. You can view the link. And it starts to move sideways around daily levels. So what do? You look for opportunities to enter once again at these levels, right? So another entry, if you take a look, price came down. It broke through this daily level. It came back up, and now you're looking for signs, right, of rejection again, of continuation, a rejection of this high daily level. Well, you've got it here. You've got it here. This is engulfing. Let me annotate. Right, you got it. I'll just draw it out here. You've got it here, engulfing. Right, it's showing signs. You've got another engulfing here, engulfing candle. This is where you could stack it and take the position again. And I did. I took that position again. Every trade that I made today, even the scalps, were right around the weekly and daily levels, and I had an amazing, amazing day. Right. So now let's talk about the reversal. Right. After moving, I think it was like 180 pips down. I believe it was 180. Let's see here. From shift, say from here. Let's do this. Say from up here. I'll pull out the measuring tool here down. We were already at 180 here. I apologize. So we went down to 223. So I mean, the major. At this level, at this point, I was seeing that price was rejecting or coming close to this weekly level. This was another weekly level we had drawn up on our chart. These weekly and daily levels, they don't change. I don't change them. I do not change those levels. They're marked up and I don't change them during the day. So they are what they are. What you see here is what I've been sharing for the past week, these same levels. Price came down to this level. Let me hide this. Let me hide this. Smart money and liquidation here. Here. I just want to hide this stuff here for now, just so you can see it in its raw, right? So here we had a weekly level. Close enough, didn't quite come down here, but it was a weekly level. If I'm looking here, where are we? Here, on another markup that I had, this is the same, you guys have access to this. This was basically what I do is this is my markup, and then I clear the chart, and I think Monday or Tuesday, I marked up with everybody else, right? So this was a level here. You can see here, it says weekly, right here, weekly. It says WKLY, that's my weekly level, right? So price came down, and I saw it was rejecting this level. What did it do? It created an engulfing candle on the 5 minute. 5 minute. Created that engulfing candle. Boom, 5 minute engulfing. It's highlighted here. I waited for entry to a price came down to this level right here, and that's where I made entry. Right. So behind this square box, behind this, if you can, let's just I'll mute you for now and then unmute when you have questions. I'm unmuted you. So here, if you take a look here, let me move this back. Where is it? Let me just I'm trying to get to that square. You can see price came down. It came down a little bit. It played. I got in here at this level again, at this level down here. And I wrote this up. I wrote it up right here. I wrote it all the way up. Here was another move. I wrote it up again. I made entry. I wrote it up again here. Every square, I actually wrote it up here too. I apologize. Here, here, wrote it all the way up, and here, wrote it up. Then I posted every one of these moves I posted with the profits as it was running. Here, I sold it. Why? Why did I sell it here? And this is scalping. I'm not scalping. I don't want to scalp. I was demonstrating because the day was bearish, right? So I was looking for to go with the trend. This was the bullish push that I was waiting for. I knew that price was going to have to retrace, but the real overall move was the downtrend. Okay, but I got in here again. I showed you this. Why did I get in here? Why? Because if you take a look at this dotted line that moves with the mouse, right, you can see on this chart, it's at a daily level. At this chart, the same daily level. And it gave me an engulfing, I'm sorry, it gave me a morning star. It started to give me this evening star. I apologize. This evening star setup. Right here, evening star setup. So what did I do? I sold it. I sold it. It was easy. Sold it. There was an L at every one of these. And I'll talk about entries. If you are not keen to seeing the setup for entry, like engulfing candles, on multiple charts, right? So if I see it on the 15, I'm going to zoom down to the 5. I should see multiple engulfings on the 5, right? But if you're not moving fast enough, or you are not noticing it, I'm telling you, the LB, the lightning bolt strategy that you guys have access to, has LBs at every one of these areas. So if the LB was trouble for you in the past because you weren't trading around higher time frames, you were trading with 5-minute zone, 15-minute zones, 30-minute, 1 hour, 1 hour, 4 hour, or 31 hour mainly, because we were doing a lot of scalping. Looking at your zones on the daily and the weekly level, and you filter out everything else, this is going to be what you're going to be looking for. And every one of these areas had an LB, because the way the LB is written, it's going to look for engulfing. It's going to look for that engulfing candle. It's going to look for an extreme, a price push to its extreme level, to its overbought or oversold level. It's going to then print when it's coming back into the price area. So if you're having trouble with that, focus on LBs only around your daily and weekly levels. I then bought this up. I just bought this, and this is so inaccurate this year, because I really held this and got in a few positions all the way till close, all the way till close. I even got in here, which is not even marked up, and I'll explain that in a second. LBs, I printed the LBs. I showed those to you in these areas. I got into this buy. Why? Because look at this chart here. Look at where price is at, right here, right? Price here is rejecting a weekly level again. It gave us so many opportunities to enter this trade. Another weekly level, right? Another weekly rejection. So what did I do? I waited for the setup, and it gave me engulfing. It gave me engulfing candle. I got in on that engulfing candle. I think actually on the 1 minute, it was, I jumped down on the 1 minute for once just to see what it was printing. Where is it? Maybe it wasn't the 1 minute. Maybe it was the 5. So I saw that it was setting up for a engulfing candle, and I bought it right here. I posted it for you guys. This was the setup that I showed you guys. I told you guys, I gave you a little bit of smart money concept and showed you exactly what to look for when they're trapping. They're always trapping. Listen, if the market's not moving in a direction, that means it's consolidating, it's moving sideways. And when it's moving sideways, they're absolutely trapping. Smart money is trapping. They have to close positions, open positions. They've got to gather positions so that they can move price in a direction. That's just the way it is. They've got so much money. It's not like us where we could just tap in any direction and wait. No, they need to move everything in a direction to ensure they win. They're winning every day, every single day. And it's us retail traders that aren't yet tuned in is going to get trapped every single day. There is another side to this of people taking your money. That's the facts. That's just the facts. And I showed you the setup, and I'll talk about that setup, and I'll share with you the idea that I have here, which shows my setup, right? Even here, I bought it. God, I bought it everywhere. Even here, I bought up here. Why? Why did I buy up here? Once again, price broke this area. It broke this area. It came down, and it was then at our daily level. and it was showing signs of rejecting it. Because I knew we were making higher highs, we broke structure. We broke structure, and since we broke structure, meaning we were making lower lows, and then eventually we stopped making lower lows and we made a higher low, right? So once we did that, I was looking for nothing but buys. And sure enough, right here, it started to show rejection at this bottom of this daily zone. And I got in again and wrote it up. The last few minutes of the market, when the market pushed down, I did at the time have Anthony on a call. We were just talking, and he was talking about what he saw, and I was showing what I saw. This pushed down. I said, I'm buying it again. Last minute, I've made another $700, $800 on just this move here because it was rejecting. Focus around those daily zones and those daily and weekly zones and nothing else. Everything else should be blinded to you. You can look at the LBs, but I'm encouraging you to look at LBs around your daily and weekly zones, and that's it. And the setup, once again, the setup, and I'm going to show you the setup. I gave this to you guys at 8:30 this morning, 8:20 on the 1 hour. I said, this is the setup. And I know that we were saying, hey, you know what, we should hold these cells, no reason to get rid of these cells, but I was seeing something else, right, that knew that we were going to push up. And this was the setup. And this setup was consolidation. When they're consolidation, what are we doing? What are they doing? They're trapping, right? They're absolutely trapping. They pushed price down. They enticed sellers to get into the market when it broke structure. Once it breaks structure, so many people, and this is the 1 hour. So on the 5 minute, I'm sure there was a lot of bouncing and sideways motion, breaks and retests. Sellers got in. Once you start seeing these big candles, that is not you and I and people like you and I moving the market. That is not people like you and I moving the market. Here's the zone, because I want to show this. That is not people like you and I moving the market. They pushed it down. I call that we know it as liquidity wicks or liquidity candles. Well, they're also pushing this. This is an industry candle to manipulate you. If you got in here at this engulfing candle, if you got in here, let me clear this out so you can see. Those that got in up here above this level of this zone, this resistance, right? It's kind of, I know it's kind of screwing with a lot of people with that whole thought process. Wait a minute, you're selling above resistance? You're selling at support? With smart money concepts, you start to see it differently. So here, because we were rejecting this daily level, right? And we got this morning star I told you about, entry. For those that got in, was able to ride that whole thing. People that got in down here for perhaps a sell, they may have been able to write it down, but then immediately they pushed the market up to bring them back in to trap these sellers. They trapped these sellers, and then they moved the market sideways again. And then what did they do? If they didn't, they trapped the sellers. They may not have squeezed them out yet, but for sure, we know anyone looking at support and resistance, we know where stop losses are at. We know where they're at. You can look at it and tell where stop losses are at. They're always going to be above and below support and resistance. So those sellers that got in here, they probably had stops right above this area of support. They probably had it right here. And if they were trying to be a little slick and had wider stops, they had it on the other side. They had it up here. So their stops were hit, right? So their stops were hit. And what did they do? What did market do? They created this structure, right? I'm going to draw this out again. They pushed up. So it was a break, a rejection, and a break again. Guess what happened? Buyers got in. I know that. That's what we all, if we're retail traders, all of us trade that way. All of us trade that way. And they got in. And what did they do? They trapped them again. They knocked some of them out here. And if not, they definitely knocked them out here. Pushed it back down. And here is where I put it in the diagram. Here is the setup for the entry right here, because they've actually liquidated. They've liquidated their positions. They were able to, they pushed price down, right? And then what did they do? They're holding on to these cells. They then bought, and they pushed price up here. They closed their buys in profit. Then what do they have to do? They have to push price down again so that they could close their cells that they entered down here and break even. To then do what? Push price up again. So this is the trap. It's always a sideways. You're going to see a wick down, a hard wick up. I mean, a candle down, a hard candle back up to trap, a hard candle up, and then a hard candle back down to trap. Once you see us trapping on both sides, pay attention. This is where you can find the entry. I made entry down here. I gave you guys that diagram 2 or 3 times today. And even if you didn't make, even though this didn't play out, this should play out for the full width of the move, right? So it should really be here. It should really go up to here, actually. You know, if you were to play the full move. It didn't get there, but I know for sure if you got in where I got in, you made a good 80 pips easy. Or maybe less. Let's see. Maybe less. Let's see here. So I got in here to here. Yeah, 82 pips, right? I got in a few times. I was actually trying to, you know, stack in positions. You know, I made quite a few pips over just this leg, but this is the setup. And because it was rejecting a weekly level. So first thing, our question is, are we around a weekly or daily level? That's the first question. Second question is, can you find confluences for entry on lower time frames? That's all you need to do. When price was down here, I'm going to show you this. When price was down here, right? When price was kind of like in this area here, all in this area, I already knew they were not going to close price here. Why? Because there was nothing here. What is here? There's nothing here. They're going to always close price around your daily and weekly levels. So when the price came down here, I knew it had to either push up or push down. Right? I was actually telling that to Anthony and I were talking about that. So price was either going to push up or down, right? I was already in the buy here. So I was waiting for price to push up. It had to either close here or at another level, right? And where did it close? Where did it close? It closed at market low, at a market daily low, like right to the T. It's never going to just close randomly somewhere. Usually, in most cases, it's always going to close at a significant level. So that's how I'm looking at the markets. And that's what I'm wanting to show you guys.